Welcome to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we discuss the history, facts, people, places, events, lots more surrounding Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinside.out.com. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com.
And yet another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out with my friend, Mr. Randy Cantrell. Randy, how are you today in Dallas?
Good. I'm good.
We're trying to, it's beautiful and sunny outside, but man, it's just cooler than I would like for it to be. I'm a weenie that way.
Like, how cool is it?
I think it's in the mid to low 30s. It's creeping up to 40 today, but that's winter in Arkansas. It's just not,
we're
bad.
A balmy 43 right now.
43, man, it's the luxury for you guys.
Yeah, thanks to this phone that I've got that gives me the weather.
Okay. Throw it out. Talk about the phone.
We need to give some love to your phone business. So I've got this cool phone. I've got a local phone number.
Mm-hmm. In Hot Springs from Dallas.
Yeah.
That's kind of complicated, but yeah.
I would happily give it out, except I don't have it memorized yet. But
501-915.
It's on our website. If you go to the footer on the website, it's 501-922-5997.
So you have a local number for Hot Springs Village, but you're in Dallas. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, well, I'm in Fort Worth. I'm on the affordable side of the metroplex.
The affordable side.
Yeah, but that's correct. And I used it just this morning to contact somebody there in the village. So
did you really?
Yeah, works. Well,
so on one side, and we won't give out this number, but on one side is your private cell number. Mm-hmm. So if you pick up that phone and dial out, it looks like you're calling from your cell. And then on the other side is the Hot Springs Village Inside Out number. And the reason, and to show you how lazy I am, I love the little telco company we have. It's called Total Telco. Total Tech is my IT company. Total Telco is the telco company. But because you can dial local extensions. So I send a phone to Randy in Dallas and I say, plug it up, turn it on. Let me configure it. We're hooked up. I hit a button on my phone. It rings on his desk. We speakerphone back and forth. I think the audio on the speakerphone is one of the best I've heard. I can't even tell when you're on speaker. Oh, yeah. And we're going to have to figure out how to run it through your road too, through the studio stuff. So anyway, all that said, fantastic little phones, very inexpensive.
Ethernet connectivity. Mm-hmm. So it's just plugged into my router.
So, and let's cut to the chase there. You don't have to have special wiring like you used to with your old phones. You can basically just plug in a Cat5, a computer cable. And if you only have one, you can go in the phone and out of the phone and back to your computer. So anyway, it's a really elegant solution, and great fidelity and quality and low price. So contact me, 501-350-0227 if you're interested. But we have so much more to talk about today. And I mentioned last time, in one of our previous episodes we recorded that Leaning Toward Wisdom is one of Mr. Randy's pages. And we certainly need to do a shout out. Great little page. I find it interesting. It's a ponderings. Wouldn't you find that, Leaning Toward Wisdom?
Yeah, well, the tagline is Modern Tales of an Ancient Pursuit, Leaning Toward Wisdom. And I'm not, by the way, the person who's saying here, I've got the lease on wisdom. It's more of a documentation of my own quest. I started this thing back when I was in my 40s. So this thing's over 20 years old.
Really?
You won't find 20 years worth of content because I take them down and I reboot every few years. I think I'm on iteration number 5 of the show, but I've got a lot of episodes that I've done through the years. Yeah.
Well, and they're great listening. They really are. The last one, what did you call what's the one, this last one?
Because it's there or something.
Because it's there. And it includes going out and having fun. Yeah. And being outside. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about.
I'm a good
today.
walk in the woods, according to a few folks that have.
You're a good walk in the woods.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Take you in our earbuds while we're walking.
Well, we need to do some shout outs because we are indebted and we need to get some things out of the way. Number one, KVRE, our media partner. Mm-hmm. Wow. thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We literally cannot tell them thank you enough. We will be updating you shortly as to what's going to be happening with KVRE and our association with them. But it will involve a Saturday morning radio program, and we are excited to talk about that. So they have been gracious sponsors. We realize that with the digital footprint that we have, that we cover a lot of area, from the Netherlands to Norway to, Mexico. That said, locally, there's a lot of people who don't know about us, because if you're not digitally connected, you don't have a clue who we are or why. So we wanted to be on terrestrial radio, and the fine folks at KBRE, Alice and Tom and Scotty Mack and Tracy and Miss Polly, all wonderful people to work with. And I hope we're going to be doing some more lives from them real soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we definitely need to. No, the huge shout out. I was really thrilled. I guess it was back in October when you took me by there, and I got to meet these people, face to face for the first time. It was a great morning. But I already knew I had a strong enough sense with you and your history back with these folks and doing work. I could tell it was a real family feel, that all of you guys had. And Rhonda and I both got to meet everybody, and it was great, and huge appreciation to them. Having a media partner like that was really important, to you and me for this podcast. We knew it was the right next step to take, and we clearly knew that they were the right partners, to have, given your relationship and given that we're both in the audio business.
That's true. So tell me this, what do you see? And before we go on to thank, we have a whole list of people to thank today, but before we go forward, what do you see for 2022? We're going to have a radio program, and
well, listen, we're in the content creation business. We are in the business of trying to provide value, and value could be defined very loosely, even to entertainment factor. You and I were commenting before we hit the record button, some people who've commented about kind of eavesdropping on our conversations and finding us entertaining. We are not at all professional entertainers. We hope to get better at it. We think we are getting better. It's interesting that as we hit the record button today, we are, let's see how old we are. How old do you think we are today?
Oh, we're 210 maybe?
We are 223. We're getting long in the tooth. If you
Long
go
in
to
the tooth already.
HSV Inside Out, if you scroll, depending on if you're on a tablet or what, but if you scroll along the side, you will see the days old that we are. I don't remember why I did that. I plugged that in for some reason, because you and I kept wondering, how many episodes have we done? How old are we? So I just put a little widget there that would tell us how old we were.
So you said earlier, and on one of our other shows back before the end of the year, we talked about, what was it you said? It was like not pre-forecasting, but speaking in the future present tense about the past when it hadn't occurred yet. What was that term?
Oh yeah, what did I say? That was
pre-future casting or something like that.
Yeah,
It was much more eloquent than that.
I don't remember. You've caught me off guard.
Well, no, the reason
that was another leaning toward wisdom thing that I did.
Yeah, it was very, very good. And I'll tell you what.
I say some profound things every now and again. The problem is I can't remember them. That's how my mind works. Well, my point was, let me go back and finish the thought. The point was, the days old is that is dangerously close to representative of the days in our relationship.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it comes across. I hope it comes across as genuine, because it truly is.
Sure.
Neither one of us are smart enough or clever enough to fake very much.
It's too much effort.
But Dennis and I have not known each other all that long. Let's go back a number of weeks prior to the launch of this thing, and we've pretty much gotten to know each other in front of you, our audience.
Yeah.
And the good news, The bad news is, then that explains why we're so bad at what we're doing. The good news is that gives you hope that we're going to get vastly better as time moves along.
I think we've already gotten vastly better. I listened to some of our earlier episodes this last week, and I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, boy, we've gotten better." I'm glad we got better.
Oh, yeah. Well, it takes a while. It
has to kind of hit your groove, had to hit your stride.
Well, and we're not doing this. We're not sitting side by side. I'm sitting here in Tarrant County in Dallas, Fort Worth, and he's there, with his to die for view, showing me up, making me look like the hermit in a cave.
No. I just like color. You could use a little color, Randy. You could use just a little color.
Yeah, I know, but you're lucky I'm not in black and white today.
I am lucky you're not in black and white today.
So there's that. But no, to answer your question for 2022, yeah, listen, neither of us had this expectation. I think first and foremost, we thought that the audience was going to be largely there. It was going to be people inside the village. I mean, this was our target audience. Turns out we had that wrong. And that wasn't by design on our part. It was just, call it a happy accident. Serendipity does happen. We have largely heard from people all over the country, people that have never been to the village, some people who have been to the village, some people who they came to the village a long time ago, but they hadn't been back. But the number of people that they're looking for a place to land and they're not real tickled where they're at. They're looking for some new place to come to. And I was not prepared for that at all. I don't know about you, but I had zero expectation. Podcasters are famous for thinking about your avatar, meaning who's your ideal listener. So if you're talking to this person, give them a name, give them a personality, where do they live? What do they like? What is that avatar? That kind of perfect. Well, I would not have thought of that. That would not have made my top 100 avatars of being a person like that. And yet that's what we've heard, and we've heard from realtors who have shown houses and sold houses to people who found the podcast and found Hot Springs Village. And yeah, I didn't see that coming a million miles away.
I really didn't either. And actually, I think, anytime there's a venture, to be frank about it, to the listener, if you're envisioning any business opportunity or a relation opportunity or so many things, you say, well, I want to get married and have kids with her or him, or I want to, make this business. I want to write my own book. I want to whatever. Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. And here I'm talking as a couple of guys who we are authorized to make this statement of what I'm about to say. Do not be even remotely deceived into thinking you can have the answer when you start. You will have to distill the answer as you go. And that's what's happening. I mean, two guys that hardly knew each other, that it sounded like a good idea. We're okay on mics. We know our tech world. We got that stuff. Let's try this and see how it goes. Well, here we are 7 months later, looking down the barrel of a commercial endeavor that was not what we intended, would never have been what we intended, getting emails nearly daily from people we don't know who are listening and saying, you really made my day this week. There was a gentleman this last weekend that watched Ernie's show. Ernie's show just rolled out. We're on the 10th of January. Ernie Deaton, who was the engineer for Cooper. He said, I usually just sit and I listen while I'm doing something else. He said, Ernie's show was so compelling, I stopped and had to listen to every word. He said, I found myself rewinding and listening and going back through some parts again because it was so interesting. That's what we started to do. That's all. We didn't, there was never a dollar.
And the blind pig can find one every now and again. When you find a guy like Ernie Deaton, that kind of helps. But no, is completely right. Completely.
Yeah, you cannot know the answer. You don't even know the good question.
I think the good news is I think the audience picks up on the fact that you and I both are, even though we're dramatically different personalities, we are both pretty bent toward just what's the very next thing we need to do? And we just get on with it. Neither one of us are overthinkers in the sense of, well, okay, we don't have step 47 down yet. It's like, no, we don't need 47. How about step 1 or 2? Can we figure that out? We're both kind of bent that way. Yeah. And I think that it's definitely played to our favor in this endeavor. We didn't have any, I had no commercial enterprise on my mind at all when I first talked to you about doing this. I love this place. I'm more in love with the place now than I have been. And now that Rhonda and I've made an investment, thanks to you, and we've purchased a lot there. You know, I just love the place. And I had a lot of questions, still have a lot of questions, and just kind of thought, you know, this is probably worth taking somebody on the journey, you know, with us as we try to figure some of this stuff out. But I mean, that really was the whole genesis of the thing. And it really speaks to the whole philosophy of the way we're rolling. Even now, I say it in my day work all the time in coaching executives. I'm just here to help you figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're doing here. We're just figuring it out. We're not saying we got it figured out. We're in the process of figuring it out. And when we got it figured out, yeah, we absolutely want to share it. It doesn't mean that once you figure it out, it's going to stay figured out. So there's that. But that's what keeps it all kind of fun and lively.
Well, and I was telling Diane this last weekend, this is a classic example. And frankly,
here, I'm going to shine some light on myself while you're talking.
You do that? We're going to have color. Go ahead. You do that. No, but I was telling Diane this weekend that this is a classic example. Whoa, there's color in the yellow studio. Who knew? Right.
Yeah, there you
go.
I'll shine some light on it.
Okay. No, what I was going to say, I told Diane that this was classically, and I hope our listeners pick this up because you can't make this up. This is a classic example where 2 + 2 = 98. I mean, you bring a tremendous amount to the table, my friend. I know a lot of people in the village. We both bring a lot to the table. We didn't bring what I could never have done this without you. And I don't think that it would work so well with just you too. Because
there's no way.
You got to be outside, inside. So it's a very, very effective partnership, I think might give me a way to phrase it.
No, I can tell you, I've got super high expectations for 2022, which is kind of crazy because 7-8 months ago, whenever we first talked, I had no expectations.
That was mine too.
Yeah. My expectation was maybe he'll say yes and he'll agree to this because, you know, I knew that you were this very outgoing extrovert and I'm not. You know, we have shows. It's funny. The first Facebook group that we did a private group, and I won't go into it, but we're fixing to take it down. And what the first question was, in order to get in the group, is who is the star of the show? Well, okay, we've said all along the star of the show is Hot Springs Village. Nearly everybody answers the star of the show is Dennis. Dennis, of course, is the star of the show, and I'm like, of course, you know, you'll never get in. No, I let everybody in.
Well, no,
all that to say is I'm perfectly comfortable, kind of hugging the wall and listening and chiming in whenever I feel like chiming in. If I don't feel like chiming in, I don't chime in, and it's all good. But that works, you know. It
works, and you see things differently than I do, obviously, and that's what we need. I need to know what it looks like from the outside. I tell you what, that said, I do want to cut a couple other things here real quick.
Yeah. We still got people to thank.
We got people to thank. We're going to thank Ernie Deaton, who is blowing us up as we speak right now. Huge hit. Everybody loves his show, but we would never have had Ernie Deaton had it not been for John Paul. John Paul, the present interim general manager, who will be stepping down this last end of this month, who probably couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Who we will be interviewing again very soon. But we owe John Paul such a debt of gratitude. He has connected us with several other really, really important people, and it's leapfrogged us, wouldn't you say?
Oh, there's leapfrogged is, yeah, that's not even close.
Yeah,
done it unsolicited. You know, John Paul's one of those guys that we record, we stop the recording, we're bantering amongst ourselves afterwards, and he's like, well, I'll tell you who you need to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it every single time that we talk to him. And I'm like, okay, well, there's another name and another name. And goes further. There's a lot of people say, well, you ought to talk to so-and-so. No, makes the introduction, makes the phone call, makes the email. So for those of you that need to take a master class in how to connect, there's a dude that can teach it. That's how you do it. You don't just think of somebody, I can think of somebody that Dennis ought to be talking to. No, you reach out and go, hey, Dennis, meet so-and-so. Dennis, meet them. And yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. No, can't thank him enough.
And works nearly 100% of the time. I will throw one other comment out real quick. His coup d'etat, his zenith, I believe, as he's walking out the door, will be Tom Clark. And he has connected us to Tom Clark, who designed all 9 golf courses in Hot Springs Village over a 50-year period. And I cannot wait. I have his number on my desk, and John Paul's already emailed him, called him, said these guys, he's already responded. We'd be interested. So if you think it's been good so far, people, hold on to your hats.
Yeah,
or your beanies.
I think the bar's going to get really, really raised. I'm already getting nervous about 2023 because I don't know how we're going to top it, but we'll worry about that when we get to the
now I'm not going to sleep tonight. I hope you're happy. I was good till right then, but now, no, I see how this is going to go.
Well,
performance anxiety.
I think that does it. If it bears repeating, if we've said it before, and I think we have. We want to get better. Neither one of us are complacent. We're not willing to sit back and go, well, listen, the podcast, this and it's that. No, we want this thing to get better. We want it to get bigger. We want it to get better. We want it to get more entertaining, more valuable. And we realize not every show is going to resonate with everybody. We get that. And we understand that. That's a great thing about this platform. There's this stop button. There's this pause button. There's this fast forward. And so it's fine. But no, huge thanks to John Paul. He's been a major friend of the show.
He really has. And we've had several others too. It's just, his has just been outstanding. Upcoming shows that we can chat about real quick. We've got Stephanie's coming up very soon. Stephanie Heffer, that was with the POA for 40 years or 30 years, I should say. I joked one time that I knew her. She had recently remarried. I say recently, last 10 or 12 years or whatever. And I noted that she was trying to think what her maiden name was. And I said, but he married you. She said, he married me and he made me a heifer. And I'm like, that's a funny joke. That's a funny joke. She's a cute girl. Anyway, and we love self-effacing people like that are easy to laugh and joke with themselves. Then we have the Connect 2 people, the electric co-op people are going to be coming up very soon. I'm eager to talk to them. They are hanging fiber like crazy from every place and every end. I'm glad there's not been an accident. I remembered Ernie's story about all the moving excavators going around while people were taking visits. Yeah, I see all the people driving around the fiber trucks, and I'm thinking, I hope nobody hits them, because
they're hitting it hard, man.
They are knocking it out. Then we've got another episode with Ernie coming up. We've got another episode with John Paul coming up. We've got sponsorships that I think are going to be as interesting as anything. And I want to let's just draw a line here real quick. Nobody likes a commercial. Nobody likes a commercial. I'm the guy that zips through commercials.
Yep, me too.
But if I can give you information and it's truly insightful and it applies to you 100%, I don't consider that a commercial. Am I making sense?
We're in a day and age of all the personalized stuff, and people can argue the whole privacy thing aside. But there's a reason that when you go on Facebook and you see all these ads and you're like, well, how do they know? Well, they know because there's these little things called cookies in your browser, and they know where you're going. They know what you're interested in. You can argue whether you like it or you don't like it, but the fact is, if you see ads for something that you're interested in, it's vastly more entertaining than something that you don't care one thing about. And I think in the same context, with our show, you and I both are really attracted to certain things. We're attracted to high quality humans, right? I mean, people that are just good people. and not everybody is,
Mhm.
but some are outstanding
And so
and
rewarding. You need to have a conversation where it's rewarding to talk to somebody. Does that make sense?
yeah. I told you we were there within the last month or so, and Dennis and I had a couple of meetings, and uh, in one of those, I remember telling you, I said, I want to look at the caller ID. And if I see a name that I'm just like, oh crap,
Exactly.
I just don't want to deal with that. Right. I just would, if my preference would be, that's not who I'm tethered to. I want to look at the caller ID and go, man, this is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this phone call. And we got some pending relationships and some existing relationships that, we're trying to move along. For you and I, it's relational. I did a little video, I think, over at my work website that got a little bit of attention from you, relational versus transactional. And for those of you that haven't figured it out by now, Dennis and I, neither one are transactional. Nothing wrong with being transactional. It's just not how we roll. Transactional meaning, we got this single transaction, and it's perfectly fine. Rhonda and I buy a piece of property from Dennis and his wife. Well, that was a transaction, but it's not transactional. That was a transaction, but there's this relationship that really is important, and frankly is more important than a piece of property for us, and I think for you guys too. I don't know.
Well, I can
that tangent, but
I can go buy a donut, and a donut is a transactional operation, right? There are other properties.
Can be, but if you show up every day and I know you by name, you're way more than a donut transaction.
You're stealing my story. I was about to
sorry.
say that same. No, you're right on the mark. And I was just going to say, I can show up and buy a donut every day, but by the fifth day, I may have a relationship with the people buying the donut. And then when I come in next week, and I've done this for the last 18 days, and I walk up and they go, "Hey, Dennis, we know you like the cream filled, and we were just about out, so I saved you one." That's a relational thing.
Yeah.
And there's no price. It's impossible to price. It's an intangible. What's the price on that?
Long term. It's long term versus short term, and we didn't start this podcast with the intent of it just being some flash in the pan. We didn't start it with some end in mind. We started it full well knowing that the place is to die for. I remember you and I very early on having a conversation. We're never going to run out of content here. Now, we might run out of brain power and skills and natural aptitude, to tell it all, but hopefully not. Hopefully we continue to get better at shining a light on the community and the people that make the place up. The progress that we've made so far is, sometimes you get far up the trail, you kind of have to look back to realize how far you've come. And I guess maybe today is a little brief respite for us to do that. We've come a long, long way. And frankly, we came further faster than either one of us ever thought.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody, and I wish y'all had heard the initial conversation that Randy and I had about this, but Randy said, if at any point in the future this becomes anything that we can monetize, or it can be, monetized, that it would be 50-50, blah, 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 blah. And I remember thinking that's important to clinically say that, but that may never happen. I'm quite well aware we could work on this for 2 or 3 years and it never become a profit and never return a dollar. That's not the point. This is a love project. We do this because we love the place. It is to die for, as you say. And
the first critic I had that came at me in social media through a DM was, that what's my agenda here? What am I? And I'm like, I don't have an agenda.
What's your agenda?
I don't know if you from Adam anyway. So, I got taken to the woodshed by somebody that has yet never met me. Like I had some ulterior motive here. And I didn't. Now the opportunities, you and I both are capitalists, and the opportunities have kind of presented themselves, and we've kind of struck a chord, and I'm super thankful for it. Very, very thankful for it.
Oh, we are indebted to our listeners. We
But,
really are.
you know, we love the place. We're in this for the long haul. These relationships with these people that are our guests, they matter. The relationship that we have with the audience, frankly, matters more. You know,
And
as important as John Paul is, and he's infinitely important, and Ernie Deaton is, and Clara Nicolosi is, and Ike and Sonia are, and on it goes, and the folks at KVRE. But, you know, without people that are click and play,
yeah,
we got nothing. You know, we're just a couple of guys talking into microphones.
Insert cricket noises here. Insert cricket noises here. Right.
Probably could if I had that queued up.
You need that loaded. You need that loaded.
Yeah, you caught me off. You caught me off guard. There they are.
Well, there we go. Oh my goodness! I'll tell you what. We have another. We wanted to talk about the freight structure fees and stuff, and we'll come back. We'll do another show on that real quick. But I was going to make note that Diane and I were driving back from Memphis yesterday, and we were listening to a podcast, "How I Built This" by Guy Raz, which is a fantastic. I mean, artfully. It's got great production values.
Yeah, don't listen to him and then listen to us. That's we're rank amateurs compared to that.
I don't even know that we rank as amateurs. Yeah. But I'll make note that one of his good points there that he interviewed chicken salad chick. The chicken salad chick, and her name's Stacy Brown. If you've never, she's got a Georgia drawl, and she's just really cute, and she tells a funny story. And as we're going through the story, and literally Diane is, which seldom will Diane tear up, but Diane's tearing up, and we're laughing, and we're crying, and we're just howling at the radio. And by the end of the show, I realize Stacy makes a lot of chicken salad, and she's a funny girl. She's a fantastic storyteller.
Yeah.
I don't mean okay. Right. I mean a fantastic storyteller. And all I could think is that, you know, a couple of guys that have roughly the same hairstyle and sit on a Zoom microphones every few days, you know, if we could even aspire to being a good storyteller like that, it would be a better thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, a few more thousand shows, we might catch Stacy.
Well, you remember we had, I was telling you about Jim Rohn. We both, ironically, we didn't know each other 20 years ago, but we were both listening to the same motivational speaker. And he tells a story. He stood up and did a speech one time. And the guy said, "Man, you did a 2-hour speech without notes. How did you do that?" He said, "The 358th time I did it, it kind of came to me. I didn't need the notes anymore." Yeah. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe by we hit episode 358 or so. What are we on? Are we on 60 or 70 now? What are we on?
I don't know.
And if you listen,
questions that I don't know, I put a widget to help us with the time on the website.
If you listen to the bumper, you'll realize that it says we're going to be a weekly podcast, but we have nearly I don't know of a week we haven't had 2 episodes.
It's not nearly. We have. We have every week, every Tuesday and every Friday since we started, and the initial conversation was, I don't know, can we crank out one every week? I mean, can we pull that off? And yeah, we can. We don't lack for subject matter. We lack for a little bit of talent, but
yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that. We're
effort.
Working on that.
Great.
Well, I'll tell you what,
make that up.
I'm going to give you a Hot Springs Village update from Lake DeSoto here in just a second. Here, I don't know that I can spin the camera around. Maybe can I try? Yeah. I know that many of you aren't watching now.
Oh, we see the big TV. That doesn't work.
Well, hang on. See if I can
turn off your TV there.
Yeah, great TV, right? Yeah, it's just not gonna. It's washed out. I was going to tell you, Dick is coming down the lake right now, and I'm watching Dick. Dick has one of these rowboats these English rowboats, and Dick lives 2 doors down, and a fantastic guy, super softball player. He's in his 70s. He's rowing the lake this morning as we speak, or this afternoon. And typically he'll get out and make a lap around the entire lake. And that's what you find in the village. You find interesting people. Here he comes right now. And he's a really, really funny guy too. But He's the guy that has the cat that adopted him. Did I tell you about the cat that adopted him?
Yeah. But tell our audience.
Well, I'm trying to think what is Minton or Simon or something like this. Donna that we had on from Auburn, the professor next door, when they moved here, they had a cat.
She rescues dogs.
She rescues dogs and cats, and she had a couple of cats here. And one of the cats decided to go 2 doors down and take up residence with Dick. And Dick has a little schnauzer kind of mixed puppy, this cute thing. And the cat will go down and paw at the door, at the clear glass door, until the dog will come up and play at the door. So the dog and the cat will play like this. I've actually seen, I hadn't shared this before, I've actually seen dogs come at the dog and the cat will attack the other dogs to scare them off. It's a badass cat. I mean, a badass cat. And so the cat shows up down at Dick's house all the time because he loves playing with the dog, right? And he's a not to be messed with cat. He's on it, you know. And so every time I see Dick will take the dog and mark his dog past here, and the cat goes with him. He takes his cat, and I'll say, "You're taking your cat for a walk?" And Dick, "It's not my cat," and it's his favorite line, "Not my cat." I'm like, well, you know, for not being your cat, it looked like for Christmas he got a new collar from your house. But I'm not saying. I'm just saying, right. It looks like a new collar to me, buddy. Yeah. You know, but yeah, right. Still not my cat.
Yeah, well, that's because the cat owns him now.
That's for sure. He adopted you. He adopted you. Well, from the shores of Hot Springs Village and Lake DeSoto, I'd like to say a bid adieu for another wonderful show. It's always wonderful working with you, Randy. And it's a beautiful day. It's a great day to be at the Village.
It is. And from the windy plains of Tarrant County.
And the yellow studio.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got a big bag of nothing.
No.
Sincere thanks, though, to the audience. Huge thanks to you, because without you, this doesn't happen. And so let me hawk the website, hsvinsideout.com. Sign up for the email. You'll get 1 email a week. It'll kind of recap the shows that we published the week before. That way you don't miss anything, and that'll be my parting call to action, Dennis.
And when you get your newsletter, at the bottom of your newsletter, it'll ask you to go and write us a Google review, if you would. And that gives us huge traction. It helps us reach other people. And it's wonderful how sweet and generous people have been there. We've had the sweetest and kindest compliments. You know, I think it's interesting, Randy, that we decided from day one this was going to be a positive light. And I've heard that repeatedly from people that talk to me here in the Village. Thank you for shining a positive light. You know what? If you want somebody to bash the Village or to bash anything, there's plenty of places to do that. This ain't it. That's not that we're not going to be realistic and tell you the truth about things. But if you want bashing, you can go somewhere else. Rock throwers live where? They can live somewhere else, right?
Yeah. The good news is we're not devoid of them. There's plenty of them. So it makes us shine even brighter. So
you have variety.
I'm even thankful for the rock throwers.
Yeah, they make variety. That's a good point.
Gracious I am today.
I'll tell you what, for Hot Springs Village Inside Out, I'm Dennis Simpson. He's Randy Cantrell. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.